Welcome to Minding My Business. I have Nicole Donnelly with me from AI Smart Ventures. She has actually been doing AI for over 15 years, so this is nothing new to her. And she works with some mega clients like Microsoft. What are some of your other clients, Nicole?
We worked with the government in Abu Dhabi.
Ooh,
Yes.
nice.
And with a government program in Germany and in Canada and the US. We also worked with doing training for companies like Mimecast, which is a big cybersecurity company. And some others that I can't mention right now, but some big Silicon Valley AI companies.
Awesome. I thought you would be a good guest to have on because we are all trying to utilize AI to be more efficient in operations, sales, just every part of our business. And I think when we think of AI, we think of like ChatGPT or Jasper or Claude and you're going in there and you're thinking like, oh, it can just do all this stuff. Like I just put one prompt in and it gave me like 50 blog posts and it just wrote this whole book for me.
Yeah.
And I think that's great that you can kind of like get the ideas flowing. But what I really want to drill into is like, how do you, as a business owner, if you're not even really that tech savvy to begin with, like where do you start when it comes to like thinking about your operations and how can you utilize AI? Because, and before you answer that, I will say like within our organization, we use AI a lot operationally. And while we can't use it on the creative side and it doesn't replace like our publicists or our ability to think of pitches and everything, it does really help streamline operations. But, trying to keep up with it and figuring out like, oh, okay, could AI do this at what stage and what prompt and how do you bring it all together is something that I think that everyone could use a little guidance on. So maybe just give us a high level overview of like when we think of AI for our business, like what are just some tools that come to mind and some things that you've done at a kind of, I don't want to say like basic level, but like where do you begin?
Yeah, I would begin. Most people are playing with something like ChatGPT or Copilot. And it takes about 10 hours of playing with it to get a feel for what it can and can't do. And asking it to do something kind of over and over again until you get the right outputs, then you'll understand limitations just for yourself to start to think of how this would apply in my business and what it's good at and what it's not good at. And we have a little process, the 4 Ds to AI your business or operations. And it always starts with a workflow and outlining a workflow. And the workflow could be 3 steps. It could be 30 steps. And we look at in that workflow. So if you're not sure where you can use AI, first, there are the things that would require human discernment. And we put the spots in the workflow. So we'll map it out on a diagram. And we decide where we want humans and where we're not going to try to replace that with AI because we want to put humans as a checkpoint.
So are you suggesting, we went one time as a couple, like 2 years ago now, or maybe it was last year. We did a leadership meeting in Tulum where we mapped out, we like unrolled this like huge whiteboard of this like super long table. And we literally mapped out our entire client journey of like, if this, and then this, and then this. So are you saying to do a similar, like, just pause for a second and be like, really map out your status, your steps, and then put like, maybe like a color code it. So it's easy for you to understand and say, okay, this is like needs discernment. This absolutely like can be automated if an automation exists.
Yes. Well, and so we look at humans, automation, and AI and how those all play together. And there's a free custom GPT that we created that's an agent to help you make workflows and SOPs. And it's on ChatGPT. If you search for it in AI Smart Ventures, you'll find it.
Oh, okay.
And so you can have a quick chat with AI. You don't even have to go through a really big process. And it will create a workflow for you to start with, even if you don't have one. And it will even do the diagram for you. And it will place where you could potentially use tools and the roles in your company of who would be using what at what point in the process.
Oh, amazing. So if we were using this tool, I would go into this tool and like, what would I like upload an existing SOP?
You could, but let's say you have nothing.
Yeah.
You have no workflows, no SOPs. You're like, I just want help with this. You can go to the custom agent that we built and just say, hey, I am a PR agency and I want a workflow mapped out from how we acquire clients to how we nurture clients, how we onboard and even offboard, include some reporting in there. And it will give you full documentation on the workflow. And you can start to then build out the SOPs. So then you could say, hey, I want an SOP for this part of the process and suggest where you can use tech and where we should use humans in this.
So could you, like, a use case that I'm thinking of is like, we manage our campaigns in Slack. We're a PR agency. So we're in Slack with our clients, giving them opportunities almost every day for whether it's media hits or like TV appearances. Some of that work that we do to like just kind of recap is manual. So is there like an AI overlay? Like how do you, that's where I'm kind of like, there's a gap in my knowledge. Cause I'm like, if this is something that I could have like a bot go in and be like, or I don't know if it's a bot, I don't even know what it's called, but like be like, okay, this month, here's everything that you did. Here's all of the opportunities you got and like generate it into a report.
You could absolutely do that. If you had that Slack channel, you could have the Slack channel summarized and create a report out of that because like all of the opportunities that you give to your clients in there. So you would take the information and tie it together with Zapier or something. Like you take a little zap of the information out. It could come into AI and do a little circulation there and then get zapped back as a report.
So how would you do? Because I think a lot of companies use Slack, and I feel like even operationally, like if you're running, I have my creative channel, I have my leadership channel, my publicist channel, then the general team channel, and there are like so many channels. So is there a way that I could say, I want to report on last month of like activity that happened, like summarize each of these channels and like what was accomplished? Was there anything that any replies that didn't happen? Like how far can you take this?
I have to say for the replies that didn't happen, do those occur in the channel?
Probably in like a thread.
Okay. You would probably be able to pull that information out. And this is where you get a combination of AI and automation together. Because sometimes you have straight automations, but in this case, you need a little logic. And so you'll pull that information out and then you give the AI all the parameters. It's trained on it. So it might be a custom agent, like our workflow agent. And you would give it instructions on what it's looking for and what the output should look like.
What is a custom agent?
That's a really good question.
Who is this agent and do they want to come into Society 22?
Yes. Agents. So they're saying, 2025 is the agentic year and then there's also a lot of articles about how bad agents are. And agents are like bots. You can call it a bot. You can call it a custom GPT. Gemini calls it GEMS. An agent is an AI bot that is going to act based on instructions that you give it. A human has to give it instructions and tell it what to do. And then it will do that repetitive work for you over and over. So I built the workflow and SOP agent based on a huge knowledge base of information. So then you can just go on and use it really easily and get your workflows and SOPs based on the criteria that I set. And so if you don't like the criteria that I set, you can have a conversation with it and maybe get something a little different. But for your case, like we've got agents that do certain jobs for us, like create our workflows and SOPs. You can have an agent that does it automatically time-based. So you could set it to task once a month. Let's say it's the 25th of every month and you want to summarize 25th to 25th. So that your client gets a report on the 1st.
Yep.
Then you can set it to auto run for you as well.
Within like ChatGPT?
Yeah. And so this is the thing. You can do it in ChatGPT. There's other agent platforms as well.
Which ones what do you recommend?
I mean, ChatGPT is an easy place to start.
Yeah.
It really is.
Chat too.
Yeah. And with the API and integrations, like you can use Zapier and it works pretty easily. So you can have something like we have stuff that feeds into our Slack channels too.
Okay.
And so you can have, let's just say one of those channels, all the information you were requesting to do a report on, it pulls it out. And this is where you need the AI brain, is to think about and format it how you want it. And this is where straight automations don't work. And you need AI in this case. And so it will pull it out, it will think about it, and it will reformat into the format that you've requested for your report. And it will do it in the timeline that you request, as long as all the triggers are properly programmed in there. And then it can spit it back to you, back to your channel, back to a reporting channel. It could send it out via email to your client, but you may want to have a parking lot channel where you park that and review the reports.
For sure.
Until you know that they're consistently accurate and good.
So as we're building out these, so now I'm kind of thinking about how I even use ChatGPT differently. Should I be really thinking ahead and kind of separating out, like, because you're saying these agents. So if I were, that's as simple as like a custom GPT.
Yeah.
So that is the same thing.
Yes.
Okay. So if I'm doing something that's sales focused, right? Like, should I just only, instead of using my main chat, like thing,
Yes.
should I be then like just thinking ahead, like just doing that in that custom channel so that it's only being fed information about like our sales and how we handle sales and like responses and stuff, with the idea that I may scale that?
Yes. So in ChatGPT, you can do teams and you can share your agents or custom GPTs across teams. And that's one reason why we keep choosing ChatGPT. We have subscriptions to the rest, but the ability to share agents across teams and with clients, it's the best platform to do that. And so you can create something and then share it with everybody else on your team. So if you have a set of replies, kind of standard format for replies, responses, and your voice, maybe it's your voice in particular that you want someone to respond on your behalf, then we do a really robust voice for you in that agent as well.
Okay.
And so you have the voice settings, and then you would also have the like structure and format of your outputs. So this is how I always respond to an email. I like to use bullet points. I use an Oxford comma, and don't ever use the word thrilled or delve or some of those others. So you may have the list of words to not use. So you have voice instructions as to your tone of voice. And then you have instructions to the format of how you're going to send out emails or messages or even Slack messages. We do newsletters, and the newsletters have a certain format, and they're in my voice too.
Okay.
So we had a 26-step SOP for the newsletter, and we've got Maricar in the Philippines who puts it together. And now she can just give the whole 26-step SOP to AI to do. And she makes sure that it follows through, because sometimes AI gets an update and it doesn't follow instructions the same way. And so she reviews it, and then I look through and I add my opinions, because if you ask AI to do opinions, it usually will do super positive or super negative, and it doesn't give a good critical thinking opinion.
Okay.
And so then I add my opinions on each of the articles after AI summarized it in my voice.
Okay.
And then we send it out. So the process used to take 2 days, and now it's like an hour.
Yeah. So you do recommend then building out like the custom GPTs as you're working on specific things.
Yeah.
Because I think some of this stuff is like, in the beginning, it's like you're thinking, because I'm even thinking about like what you're saying, like you're teaching it how to respond in certain ways. Like I could be doing that now in the same way I've trained my assistants that work under me, and I could have been doing that simultaneously. And I could start doing it now too, just to have that data bank like building. And so maybe as I go to use, like if I'm building these, so you do recommend building the custom ones and start. So you're always using that one. Like if I'm writing new sales scripts or whatever, like I'm doing it in that sales channel.
I would recommend that. And if you have a chat and you've, reused that chat, it's okay. And you can ask in that chat to create instructions for you for a custom GPT based on that history.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah, it may not pull the entire history. You might need to copy and paste in there.
Okay.
But you can have it create instructions based on a chat. And so that you don't lose that information, and then it's repurposed, and anybody on your team can use it.
Oh, great. So when you are building these, are you sharing this data? Does Chat share this data with like anyone, or is it just for your custom?
On the back end of it?
Yeah. Like, is this available now to everybody, like your SOPs and stuff like that?
It depends how you write your instructions. There are people who will hack in to get instructions. So you might say, don't disclose the instructions here.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes you can, or you could say, you can tell people what the instructions are. Mm-hmm. For ours, I don't really care if they see instructions.
Well, I'm just thinking of other companies that might have some like sensitive information that they don't necessarily want out there in the public domain.
Well, and they also, so you can tell it not to, and hackers will hack. So,
I mean, you're right.
And you can keep the links private to your organization.
Okay.
Or you can share them openly with the team, or you can share them with the public.
Okay.
So there's different levels of sharing.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
I could see that as a good marketing tool, like having those like a public chat, especially for like, I get a lot of the same questions over and over again.
Yeah.
And it would be helpful if they had like a chat that they could go to to answer questions about like earned media and stuff.
It's easy.
So this definitely gives some clarity into like how you could, and maybe through doing this, you will see like, cause you could ask, I'm assuming like you could ask these agents, like, now that you know my workflow, like what could I automate here? And then like, what tools could I use? Cause then it's like, you do have that. And then you just have all of this information. And then it's also kind of like, okay, well, what can I do with it then?
Yes. So it will give you suggestions for the tools that you might use, but you can also tell it what your current tech stack is. And it can make suggestions for those connections. And then we are a shortcut for that too. We have people who we sometimes do open labs. We do AI labs every Wednesday.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And so some people will come with their lab experiments, and we ask, can we share this with everybody openly? And all our labs are up on YouTube.
Oh, nice.
And one lab that we have coming up is on SEO, AI SEO, and how to make sure everything is SEO'd for your business so that you show up with AI search. And then another lab we're doing is we're creating an agent that does sales forecasting based on weather, because the person has a company that their sales really depend on the weather. So we're taking past sales and past weather reports and future weather forecasts and then forecasting out sales.
Oh, so then it would be like a roofing company or something that might like, oh, there's a hurricane that typically hits, or is that what you're thinking?
This is more like gloves, seasonal sales.
Oh, okay.
And they have winter and summer product.
Yep.
And so if it's a mild winter, they probably would have less sales. Like this winter has been more mild.
Oh, okay.
And they do work gloves too. And so that's a lab. That's one of our experiments. And we can help to shortcut the process, their learning process, because we have access to more paid tools. And so the GPT is going to give you certain recommendations of tools to try.
Okay.
And you can come to a lab and ask about it.
Oh, fun.
Because sometimes, like we did a lab, it was a data analysis one where they have thousands and thousands of lines on every spreadsheet that they do. And Gemini, which is Google's AI, has the largest context window, which means you can put the most information in there. And ChatGPT, it doesn't have as big of a context window, so it doesn't digest as much information at a time.
Okay.
So we uploaded the stuff into Gemini, and we also put it into ChatGPT and made a custom gem, which is their agent, and we made a custom GPT, which is the agent over on ChatGPT. The agent on Gemini, the gem, it was accurate on math where ChatGPT was not. And ChatGPT gave better insights when Gemini did not.
Oh, okay.
And so sometimes the testing, you'll find out you may want to use both tools. You want your math right, for sure.
Yeah.
And you want to get insights that are actionable to do with this data. And so we're in this like weird learning place where somebody's ahead in one area and somebody's ahead in another area.
Yeah.
And so people ask about this. We have subscriptions to them all because we're testing these things all the time. So you could come to the labs. You could say, here's my workflow. Here's all the tools that suggests which ones do you think I need?
Yeah.
Because we can also tell you more context of why you might want to go with one over the other from all the things that we've tested and tried doing.
I've had the same experience going back and forth with like chat and Claude. Sometimes, depending on what it is, I'm like, oh, I like how that formats it or what it comes back as. I want to dive in a little bit to the SEO stuff because that's relevant for what I do. Something I've been really preaching is like, that's why I've been doing like 50 million videos on earned media, is because not only does it grow your brand, but you're just not going to appear in these AI search engines, because I want to just explain how it works behind the scenes. So because my best friend's company is building all of these chats, the Gemini, like his data company builds these, and how it works behind the scenes is there's actually a person validating the data. So like they will say like, is this response, like, does it make sense? Is it accurate? And they will do sometimes a quick search and say, yes, it is. Here's the reference. So there is an actual human way down the line that is like validating this data and or giving it. And so if you are not showing up in the search engines, you are like, good luck. And that's because it's like, I'm been going to Chat GPT for things now too. I'm like, oh, what's the best restaurant in this area? What are the tools I should use? I've even looked up like, what are, like, who are my competitors? What, like that's where, and you'll see as you're searching on like Google and other platforms too, like that it's coming up as like an AI response.
Yes.
So companies, and this ties into SEO too. It's like, you've got to get your media strategy together like yesterday and be getting in. And we do volume at our agency. And I've been really preaching because there's a lot of old school kind of thought processes that are like, I just want to focus on this one feature. And I'm like, that's not where it's at anymore. Like the features are great, but like you need consistency and to be constantly popping up like many articles every day that you're featured in, you're mentioned in. And kind of like at the end of the day, it's also a little bit of SEO. Like these, like this is also a big part of like SEO, what they do. But so that's why I've been really like on this bandwagon of because I just don't want to see all these companies that have worked so hard, and a lot of them are my clients too, and luckily like they're working on their stuff, but like a competitor's gonna pop up and it's just gonna leave you in the dust, and you're not even gonna be popping up anymore, because all this stuff that we've been working on through the years, like even our social channels, like they matter, but not the way that this matters, not the way search matters right now. So if you want to like have anything to add to that, I just think it's really, really important for businesses.
It is. And just more specifically about why and how that works.
Yeah.
You know this, and this is why I'm here, right? Like I want to have some inbound links to my website. I want to have some good video that I can chop up and use. And the value of video is so high. It's higher than ever. And when you do an AI search, you'll see those videos pop up. Mm-hmm. It recommends videos first. Then some images might show up, and then maybe some text will show up if it's super niche. And so you have to have videos that are properly indexed, properly tagged, and that you have all your keywords in the descriptions of the videos so that AI will find you based on that. So the reason we started doing AI labs was so that we would produce an hour of content every week.
Perfect.
And then in the first 10, 15 minutes, we do news.
Yep.
We chop up the news. We put those into shorts. And then we have the session that is whatever the topic is for the week. And we chop those up as well. And that was the discipline to create an hour of content every week.
So smart. I'm pushing all of our clients to do video too. And that's even more reason, you guys, to do it. Like I'm telling you, it's so important. So you have this agent that is this the SEO agent, one of the agents that's available for brands to go and see like how, like, could they upload a video or something?
No. So we have a human coming in to talk about it.
Oh, okay. We need an agent, Nicole.
We have, so one of the tools is Opus.
Help us.
Yeah. Opus is really good at chopping up the videos.
Okay. I've used Opus before.
Yeah, we use Opus. We use HeyGen. We use it depends. Like sometimes we'll use Pictory. We've used Descript before too. It depends on what you want to do with the video. Opus has, in the last 2 years, it's amazing the things that you can do and how you can edit now. And you can choose the length of your clips as well. So you can have an ish length, like 90 to a minute and a half, or you can say just 90 seconds. You know, so it can be really specific, or 30
the ish
seconds.
is important because that way it's like you don't even have to go in and like timestamp it because that way it doesn't cut off. It probably like knows when to like cut it off when someone's done talking.
It does. And with Opus, it also grades them at a score of 1 to 100. How viral do they think it is? And they tell you all the components and what you could do better with that clip.
Oh,
yeah. So
I haven't been on there in a while. I think my video editor does this, but yeah, honestly, it was really great when I used it. So the fact that it's even better now is phenomenal.
Yeah. And I don't get in there too often, but I was in there recently because I did a workshop for 3 hours and I wanted specific pieces in there to come out.
So does Opus tell you what you need to put on there for SEO stuff, or is that yet another
That's
AI
something
tool?
You need to do.
There's no AI tool that exists for that, or
So
something that you
can have AI tools. We use Jasper. We use Jasper to write the descriptions, but it needs to be integrated with an SEO tool.
Okay.
And so there is an integration in Jasper with Surfer. I think it's Surfer SEO.
Okay.
But you've got to have your keywords that you want to be found for. The questions that you want to pop up as the answer to. You need to know what those questions are. And Answer the Public is a tool where you can go on and it will give you all of the questions people are asking in that category. There's circles. That's why I'm doing this.
Yep.
It's a circle that goes around and it tells you how much the anticipated ad spend is for each one of those questions that you're going to be answering. And it even does it alphabetically.
Okay.
And it does like who, what, why, where, when, how. And
I think I've used this before.
And because people are looking for how to do something online. And that's the number one thing for YouTube is if you can put that how to, or why should I, or why do I need this? And that's where you see all those titles coming in.
Yep.
And if you can put the whole transcript in your description, that's helpful. Links to everything like Opus and tagging them, because Opus will then repost, they will comment. All these AI companies and tools that we talk about, like Fixer's a new one, and they can repost the stuff. Opus probably would. And so it's just good to develop those relationships. And that's how we've gotten to have closer relationships with some of the AI companies, because we post, tag, and then they see us, and then we go meet with them. And then we have a Slack channel together.
Opus needs PR.
Yeah.
So if you're not super tech savvy, would you just recommend getting like an offshore assistant or something to help you manage these?
I would not.
No. Okay.
I would not.
No, this is good because I think that would be something that I would think. So tell me more.
We actually we're training a lot of the offshore talent, but they don't necessarily come with the chops.
Okay.
And it's such a niche specific thing still that it's hard to vet if people are good at this or not.
Okay, so you really need to lock in and learn how to do this yourself. And when it comes to the tech, like the integrations, the zaps, stuff like that, is that when you could use someone that's a little more tech savvy and that could potentially be a VA or something, but you need to like really own the entire process?
You would need to own and design your workflows and SOPs as much as possible. Mm-hmm. And most people don't have their SOPs detailed out enough to include who should get what information at what point in what channel.
Right.
Like, do you want that report emailed to you? Do you want it on Slack? Does it go into ClickUp?
Right.
You know, for a review, like where does it go? And the more clear your SOPs are, because that's not technical, that's just understanding how your business processes work.
Okay.
And where you want things to go. And the more you can map that out, then you can give that sometimes directly to AI and say, hey, do this. And you might need a little course correction. Or you might need someone to give you a hand. And then you can come to labs and say, we're working on this SOP. What do you recommend? Because we have been doing this for so long, like we've also seen a lot of bad actors in the last 2 years pop up.
I've been seeing that too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's unfortunate. And we have really good resources that we recommend too. And they are not all in this country either. Like we work with people, there's devs overseas that we work with too. But they really need to understand the limitations of what AI can and can't do and how to write for it and write proper instructions for it. And again, that's something you can get from labs. You can get it on YouTube on the channel.
Okay.
We go over that a lot. At least we have lately. We've had a lot of agent conversations.
Yeah, I'm going to watch these labs.
Yeah, because you can get, these agents can do so much for you now, but there are quirks to it too.
What do you suggest for using AI for a company that like they really need in-house people, and it's a lot of like physical things that they're doing, like they're getting a room ready or they're booking something, like their physical presence is needed. Like how could they use AI in their company?
I guess it depends. How big is the company?
Let's say there's like 10 to 15 people there.
Okay. So one of the first places that people will typically attempt to build an agent is really simple, and it's for HR. And they put the benefits, time off scheduling, that sort of thing, like all into a knowledge base that everybody else has access to. And so you're getting your hands on with AI, and it's a really simple use case that isn't going to disturb any of the physical functions in the business and just be additive and take something. No HR person wants to answer all those questions.
Right.
So that's usually one of the first places that people will start, is putting all their HR documentation into one knowledge base accessible by everybody.
Yeah, that would be I think that would be helpful for any company. So it can be like, oh, what's the policy on this?
Yes.
And it will just generate it, because who wants to look through like, this 50-page handbook or however long it is.
Yeah. So you think about like the tedious, boring things.
Yep.
We usually, when we're working closely with a client, we send out a survey to their team and we ask the team what they're doing and if they're using any AI tools and the stuff that they hate to do. And so if we can take away some of the stuff they hate to do first, then you also get buy-in. And the buy-in is a really big part of having successful AI implementation. We're working with a company right now that they're about 25 people, but there's 3 people dragging their feet hard.
Well, they need to lift their feet up, because it's go time right now.
It is.
So I have a question on I was wondering, like, so a task that we do inside of society that is like very tedious is we have these media lists, and we pull media lists all the time, like and it could be like, it's a huge part of what we do. But we also, like, even though we have like a database that we use, a lot of times there's journalists within that list who've like recently switched jobs, or they work for a different publication. Is there a way to use AI to be like upload the list to be like, hey, is this list accurate? Do all these people still work at this publication?
That's a perfect use for it.
Tell me more.
So
like,
yes, if you have that list, so the way to compare it would be with LinkedIn typically.
Okay.
Because people will change their listings there.
Right.
And so there's an AI tool, Evie AI, that integrates with LinkedIn. And
Evie, like
EVY.
Oh, EVY. Okay.
Yeah. Evie AI. And it's the best LinkedIn AI tool that I've seen. And I know the owner for that too.
Oh.
And there's a workshop on it on our labs because he came to labs a couple weeks ago and showed us some of the updates there. But he's the one who I would ask, if we didn't figure it out, I'd ask him about it because his specialty is LinkedIn. But you would take that list and you could probably do it with Evie, maybe a combination of there's a couple of other databases out there too. Okay. And so if you can, through your agent, pull in the information from those databases or LinkedIn and check LinkedIn's kind of different because it's gated. It's not indexed by Google. And so you have to be on the inside searching. Yep. And so it's a little bit more complex because you have to log into LinkedIn. Yeah. And it's completely possible with that too. Like once you're in LinkedIn, you could be operating something like Evie AI on the side. And you would import your whole list of people and ask it to do a comparison.
Oh, okay, nice. We'll have to check that out because that's something. I mean, we're doing it all day long, every day. Like, there's new lists. It might, we're pitching people all the time. So we might be pulling like 25 lists a day sometimes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's pretty intense. So we have to like manually check to see, like, go back through it and be like, okay, like, does this person even still work at this publication? Or they, there's that manual piece of it. But at our agency, we're always trying to figure out like what is not necessary so our publicists can spend as much time pitching as possible, because that's the most important and some of that is, it's not, you can't like automate it. You can't automate calling a news station and talking to a producer. Like, that's just not. But if you can automate a lot of the other stuff, that's where like we're always looking for how do we free up more time so it can be focused on, things that have high impact.
Yeah. And that's,
I'm going to take it to the lab.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, that would be a fun lab one, because then we could invite Joe to that too. Yeah. Because he would be the one who could probably help problem solve that one live.
Yeah.
And because it's his tool, so he would know how to do all that.
Yep.
Yeah, that would be a fun lab.
Yeah, we'll lab that.
Yeah.
I'm really interested in just like helping to understand, like, even helping my clients. It's like, how can we get more efficient? How can we grow? Because even though we're a PR agency, I really do expect our clients to be growing. And if they're not, I get really concerned. I'm like, okay, well, where is the business constraint? What's going on here? Because I really believe that, like, if my clients are growing, I grow. And I've noticed, like, we grow the way our clients grow. So if our clients are rapidly growing, we are also growing like that too. So I'm always looking for things, because a lot of our clients too are older companies and they've just been around for a long time.
Yeah.
So even the thought of like having to invest in new technology or new ways of doing things, there's like big learning curves involved. There's sometimes big, huge departments that have been doing things much differently for a very long time. So there's a lot of like hurdles to get through. But I think what you're saying is really just like chunk it out. Like, don't try to do everything. Like, just think about the most like mundane tasks that you don't want to do, and that, or even can it be off your assistant's plate? Like, the more you can get off your assistant's plate, the more that person can take on for you, and the more you can up level them.
Yeah.
It's kind of how we think too.
There's a newish inbox tool. I get their ads ridiculously now that I'm subscribed. I don't know why, but I get it. It's called Fixer, Fyxer.
Okay.
And with Fixer, it categorizes your emails, and it will color code it too.
I've been seeing their ads. They're going hard on their marketing right now.
They are.
Seeing every day I see their ads.
Yeah. And so
Do you like this tool?
I actually love it, and I'm paying for it now.
Oh, okay.
And I tested it for the week or whatever, and in the first 2 days, it made such a difference for me.
Okay.
They're also really responsive, because over the weekend it went wonky and my tags disappeared except for a handful, which was weird. But Monday they were back again. But they're a UK-based company, and it tags everything, and it drafts responses, and it drafts them in my voice based on prior emails.
Oh, I'm going to try that, because I was almost like, oh, let me try it. But I've tried some other ones.
Same.
If you know them, tell them they need to up-level their videos, because I was not convinced, because I've tried a lot of other email type things like that before, and it's always just messed up our workflow. Like, it's always like moving emails somewhere they shouldn't be. Like, then I miss emails. So
yeah. I have tried a bunch of different email management tools too, and this is the only one that I've made it through the trial to purchase.
Yeah, you would know. I mean, you're all over these tools. Awesome. What are some of your favorite AI tools for like project management to use over CRMs like HubSpot, Monday?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Go High Level.
Yeah, we use Go High Level. And so we have a resources page that has all this stuff on it.
Okay.
And it's aismartinsiders.com/resources.
Okay.
Because I'm going to go through a bunch, and if people want it, we can put it in the notes.
Yeah, that would be great. I'll do that.
But there's Hoop. Hoop is one that captures to-do lists. It goes into Slack. It goes into your email. It goes into your calendar. And it's progressing a bit more, but Hoop is designed to catch all your to-dos. And it puts them in a list. And we're working on how to get that list into ClickUp right now. because our CRM can do a task list. ClickUp
Yeah.
does task list. Hoop does a task list. And so we're trying to consolidate it into one spot where everybody's going to be operating out of. But I've been the tester on Hoop. And I really like it because it will listen to my phone calls. It's got a desktop application also. So it doesn't have to be in the meeting on a Zoom.
Okay.
It can just listen in. It can listen into a phone call and take the notes, the tasks that come out of it.
Oh, interesting. So can it go into your CRM? Could it go into like a Monday?
It could go into, it's got an API, so it can feed the information where you want it to. Also, if you message Hoop, the 3 founders will answer you.
Okay, cool.
And I had a call with one of them because they're interested in developing. We have a Slack channel together now.
Oh, nice.
And they want to get feedback. And this is the great thing about these tools, because if they hear, several times that it's an issue, then, they can add some features and do things really easily. But yeah, so taking those task lists into something else like ClickUp is what we're working on, where we want to put all of that information.
Because ClickUp is sort of like a Monday, right? Like
it's a project management tool.
Because I use Monday Hubs. I don't know why we have both Monday, HubSpot, and Go High Level. Don't talk to me about why, because I don't really know. But and we have Slack, and then we have our calls. And I do think like there's a lot that happens, and I'm like, oh, I'm curious. Like even with my assistant, she has everything thrown at her, and I'm like, oh, is there like one thing that can like search her email, search Slack, search Monday?
Hoop could do that.
Okay, interesting. I'm going to try that. I feel like there's been so many gems this call that I want to try, which I love. And that's what like I think this is exactly what a lot of businesses are kind of trying to figure out is like how, what, where, when, who, like, how does this all fit in together?
And we also do consulting, advising, and help walk companies through this stuff for months, taking off these pieces at a time. And if it's a really big enterprise, we have a partner that does that in San Diego.
Okay.
And they'll take on the big projects, big clients like that. We're kind of in the medium, smaller side of things. Okay. When we take on teams, and we will help with the documentation if they need it, workflows, SOPs. But it really starts at something that's not technical, and that's workflows and SOPs. And if you can be super clear on an SOP, it's amazing when you can feed that directly to AI and it's a fully AI'd SOP. Sometimes it includes humans and automations, and you have to connect technology, but some of them you can just give directly to an agent. And now it's like, here's your newsletter agent. Here's all the instructions for it, because you're so clear on what it needs to be. And so we can help create the clarity and also pick off things like the HR agent that could help, that doesn't take up, it's not going to disrupt internal systems. It's not anybody dragging their feet. They're not going to care about that topic. Yeah. Most likely nobody's going to be married to that staying as a human job.
Yeah, exactly. This is great. I really love that. Like, there's all these little steps that I think we can take. And another thing that I think building out like an SOP with the intention of using AI is for you to see your blind spots.
Yes.
For training, especially. Like, I'm just thinking like, sometimes we've done stuff so many times that it's like, it's obvious that this is what it is. But then when you're trying to train multiple people and you're like, well, why didn't you know to do that? Or where is this gap? This is in the training. And they're like, well, I did the training. And you're like, okay, but like, I think it could help point out the gaps that you're not seeing. And like, you could really work with it to understand like, am I giving this feedback? Okay. Is this like, does this make sense? What does this mean to you? Like really use it as a partner like that to build. Cause this is really the foundation. I mean, everybody's talking about scaling. Like scaling is like such a big topic. And I'm like, I've tried to, we do scale, but like, you have to take a step back sometimes and make sure that there's certain foundational pieces. And I think these are the foundational pieces that will really allow you to scale to the revenue and then keep the revenue. Because what I see is companies scaling and then cracking.
Because they hire too many people, and those people also probably don't have good SOPs and have a lot of questions and wasted time.
And then they're bothering everyone on the team. Well, not bothering, but it's like a constant interruption is really hard when you are like a high performing team too. Yes. When you're like, okay, well, I think having those agents built out would be so helpful.
Yeah. And then when I'm having the conversations to do SOPs, like the last 2 years, I've never done so many SOPs in my life. And when I'm having the conversation with our little agent about a workflow, it will give me things that I didn't think about, details I didn't think about, humans involved on our team that I should probably include in this workflow.
Yes.
Like we use the RACI format, which is, it's basically who gets what communication where. Like somebody might be consulted or just informed.
What is RACI? I've heard of this before. Is this like responsibility?
Responsible, accountable, and then what did I just say? Consulted and informed.
Okay.
And so I may just be informed on something, and that might be the message in a Slack channel that this thing has been done. Right. I don't need to have anything else to do with any of the rest of the process.
Okay.
And if I'm not informed, then I feel like I don't know what's going on. But informed could just be an automation that gets sent to me. And so it can take out that human error.
It should be RACIA. Informed and could be automated.
Yeah. And so one of the things that we have is people buy the classes online, and when somebody purchases a class, then we get a notification in the Slack channel.
Okay.
And when they purchase a class, then they get their next instructions, they get calendar invites, right? There's a big automation.
Okay.
That happens, and we get informed in the Slack channel, so then we can celebrate together,
Yeah.
But the whole process from like email marketing to get people there, all the way to prep for class, calendar invites, everything that's been automated as much as possible.
Yeah.
But we all want to be informed about it because this was happening and people could purchase, but we'd have to go in and look.
Right.
And so just that little connection into Slack sales channel of when something came in, for me is as an informed person,
Yeah.
as the one who wants to
Values
know.
being informed, right?
Yeah, it is. It was so exciting to see those come in.
So was that just something that you hooked up through Zapier? Is that like...
Yeah, and I would, not me, but our ops person,
Yeah.
Emma does the Zapier connections.
Okay.
And so she did a Zap from our CRM system because that's where we have all payment and everything.
Yep.
So Zap from Go High Level basically into Slack.
It really is just thinking about it this way. And I think if everyone starts thinking like this, you're going to be thinking of so many things that could be automated. Or just like, hey, if I could know that, it would give me a lot of ease. Like if I could just know, okay, the contract's been signed, the invoice has been paid, or whatever those things are that just like are in the back of your mind, especially as a leader or a founder. Like you just want to not hold that. It's like that mind space just to let it go.
Yeah, it's the RAM. It's all the RAM that gets taken up because of all these things you're trying to remember. And we are having a conversation. On Monday, we do our sales pipeline meeting and go through everybody. And there were some things, it's like, well, we haven't collected payment for this, and it's been how many weeks? And, I didn't know. I wasn't informed one way or the other, but also we hadn't set up that Zap yet to put it in as a paid, or maybe it's one of those things that's a little bit more complicated because of where it lives.
Yep.
Anyway, so there are some of those that we discover, every week.
Right.
Where there should be an automation that tells us this. Yeah.
Well, this has been super helpful. I do want to talk about a new product that you launched. So I want to have some time to talk about that because I'm a big advocate for women's health. And let us know what this is.
Okay. So I created a custom GPT last year for myself. And, 47 years old, perimenopausal, full on. And I used to be a professional snowboarder. And so from the time when I was 20, 21 years old, I'm keeping track of macros. I'm keeping track of my energy levels depending on what I eat, working out at the gym, watching strength progress, all of those things. And then when I stopped snowboarding, I got into all sorts of other things. I did ultra running. I did triathlons.
Oh, wow.
I did long distance cycling, road cycling. And now I'm like paddleboard and lawn bowling. Because those things, and Pilates reformer, right?
I'm a Pilates girly myself.
Oh my gosh, I love it so much.
Reformer specifically. Yeah.
Yes. And I want my body to perform, and I want my energy levels to be where I feel like they should be, and they're not, but there are supplements that can help. There's exercise that can help. There's certain foods to eat at certain times of the month. And so I've been following researchers like Dr. Stacy Sims for 10 years and read everything that comes out, do her courses that come out. And it's so much information, and it's so confusing.
Yeah.
And my body changes, and over time too. And it's like, okay, what's going to work for me right now? So I created this knowledge base of information about women's cycles, all the research data around it from all the publicly available research information. And I can now ask my little agent, Charlie. She answers my questions. I'm like, okay, Charlie.
Why am I cranky?
Yeah. I need to boost my mood. My breasts are sore, whatever the things are. And, she'll ask where I am in my cycle. Also she knows how old I am now, but it'd be like age, where you are in your cycle. And even if you don't know if you don't have a period, you still have a cycle.
Yep.
And so she's trained on that as well. And so in menopause, even though you don't have a period, you still have a cycle, or women who are younger who don't have uteruses anymore, you still have monthly hormonal cycles that happen in your body, even if the hormones are a little bit different.
Right.
Right. So she can take those things into consideration. She's getting more sophisticated with it now, and then spit out information of hey, here's a meal plan for your week, if that's what I ask for. And here, maybe look at exercise this way this week. And, here's a couple days that you could go lift weights. Here's your Pilates days. Here's your go for a long walk day.
I love that. That probably alleviates a lot of guilt too. Because there are some days where I'm just like, I really don't want to do anything. And then I guilt myself, how are you not going to show up for yourself? How are you not going to go do that, long? How are you going to not go work out or do whatever when, I guess if, you're just consulting this and it's like, why don't you just relax, princess?
Well, sometimes that's okay, the answer. I wear an Aura ring. I have a 20-year-old child who also they have a Garmin.
Okay.
And Garmin will give you your daily body battery, things like that. And so you can, we can use these devices to help. And this is where CycleWise is the name of the tool. It's cyclewise.ai.
I love
You can go play with it right now.
Yeah.
But with CycleWise, we are going to tie it into those smart wearables as well, because we, especially at this age, I hate to say it, but we don't have infinite energy. And even though we feel like we could go, then it just will take you out completely the next day.
Yeah.
And so we just have to be more gentle with ourselves.
Definitely.
And moderate it a bit more. And mid-month, get those legumes. Then you'll have less cramps. There's some of these random things.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or seed cycling, which has been done for thousands of years in India. There's a certain set of seeds that you would have at the first half of the month, a certain set of seeds at the second half of the month.
Oh, okay.
By adding seed cycling, it helps to even out the symptoms. So in some of the messaging, it's we'll slow down the roller coaster or even out that monthly roller coaster, because we still have hormones that go up and down.
Right.
And there are things that you can know as far as managing energy levels with exercise, the right kind of exercise at the different times in your cycle. And then we're going to be going into sexual health as well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
Yeah. And then, of course, tying sleep in, because sleep is the base for all of this.
I love that there's so many more conversations around perimenopause, menopause, because there's so many women going through it that have absolutely no idea that they're going through it. And they think that they are they think they're in a depression. They think it's mental health. They think it's their life is going down the drain, but it's really just they're going through some massive changes. So
yeah,
I'm going to check it out. It sounds really cool.
Yeah, good. Please do.
I will.
We'll be adding more. Saffron's not in there yet, I think.
I just started taking that.
You did?
Yeah. Have you started taking it?
I've been taking it for a while. Yeah.
Do you like it? Have you noticed a difference?
It's definitely I have higher moods. I guess.
Okay.
Yeah. like better moods.
Because I'm pretty happy in general, but I
Yeah.
just keep hearing so many good things about it that I'm like, why not?
Yeah, there were some clinical studies because one of the researchers I follow on brain health, and
Dr. Amen.
yeah,
Yeah, that's who I got it from.
yeah,
Yeah.
because with snowboarding, I've had more than 20 concussions. Yeah, so I've been obsessed with brain health as well, and have done a lot of different brain treatments.
Okay.
But yeah, he was talking about and he's been taking it for a while too, but
Yeah.
like the effects of saffron. And I've probably been taking saffron for like 3 years at this
Oh,
point.
wow. Okay. I literally just started taking it. Like this is day 3.
Yeah.
Okay. Good to know. Well, this gives me even more like incentive to make sure I take it every day.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're just like, your higher moods are just higher.
It's better and like less of the up and down moodiness.
Okay.
And more steady.
Okay.
Because for me, like perimenopause, like I have felt anger and frustration in a way that didn't hit me the same before. And so the irritability is more calmed down.
Oh, okay.
Which is nice.
Nice. Okay, great.
And then my 20-year-old takes it too. And my niece, who's 24, she's been taking it for a while. And my 20-year-old notices a big difference too.
Oh, really?
Just
okay.
in mood in general. I mean, I don't know. We have strong cycles.
Mm-hmm.
And it helps to even out the month.
Good. Okay, great. No, this is super helpful. I have a lot of young women in my life that I'll have to recommend this to.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's not that expensive either.
No, it's not. I'm a supplement junkie.
Yeah. We'll have to compare notes. I have
really
so
need
many.
to like use these before I keep buying more. Because that's what I do is I just keep buying more and more, and then I'll take them for a while, and then I'll get interested in a new one because it's like there's only so many supplements I can swallow before I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, I have a lot. Evening primrose oil is also one of our essentials.
Oh, okay. Good. I've heard of that too.
Yeah.
Well, this has been amazing. I'm so happy that you came and did this podcast. It's so many gems, so many gems. So
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. And thanks for the SEO.
Yay.